She said, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore." I answered, "I understand." 1 month later, she heard I was dating her coworker. When she confronted me at my office, she realized that in her version of love, I was supposed to stay single and pining. I was 34 male and had been with Lauren, 31, for 4.5 years. We lived in my 2-bedroom loft in the Mission District of San Francisco. I owned the place outright after buying it during a market dip right before the pandemic. Top floor, exposed brick walls, big windows that looked out over the neighborhood rooftops and the hills beyond. I paid the mortgage, the property taxes, the utilities, the internet, the parking spot in the garage downstairs, everything. Lauren chipped in $200 a month for groceries and sometimes the streaming subscriptions. She worked as a content strategist at Brightwave Marketing downtown, pulling in about $85,000 a year. She always talked about wanting to go freelance, build her own personal brand, maybe launch a podcast on creative careers. I believed her. I even helped her set up a home office in the 2nd bedroom, bought her a new MacBook and a standing desk so she could create without limits. We met at a mutual friend's rooftop party in Potrero Hill back in 2019. She was wearing a red sundress, laughing loud at someone's joke, and when our eyes met across the deck, I felt that instant click. We talked for 3 hours that night about everything: favorite hiking trails in Marin, bad first dates, how neither of us liked pineapple on pizza. 2 weeks later, we had our first real date at a little Italian place in North Beach. 6 months after that, we were exclusive. 2 years in, she moved into my loft. It felt like the natural next step. We cooked dinner together most nights, took weekend drives up the coast in my old Subaru, spent holidays with my family in Sacramento. Her parents lived in Portland, and we flew up there twice a year. Everyone thought we were solid. Looking back, the cracks had been there for months. She started staying late at the office for big pitches. Her phone stayed face down on the table during dinner. She laughed less at my jokes. Sex went from 3 times a week to once every couple of weeks, then almost never. I asked if something was wrong. She always said she was just stressed about work. I believed her because I wanted to. I'm a senior project manager at Apex FinTech, a mid-sized company in the Soma district. My days were packed with stand-ups, stakeholder meetings, and debugging timelines for our banking app. I brought work home sometimes, but I always made time for her. Or at least I thought I did. That Tuesday night in early October, we were sitting on the couch eating Thai food straight from the containers. The Warriors game was on low in the background. Lauren put her pad thai down, wiped her hands on a napkin, and looked at me with this calm, almost rehearsed expression. "Mike, I love you," she said, "but I'm not in love with you anymore." The words landed like a quiet door closing. I stared at the TV for a second, then back at her. My chest felt tight, but my voice came out steady. "I understand." She blinked, like she had expected yelling or tears or questions. "That's it. You understand." "Yeah," I said. "If that's how you feel, I'm not going to argue with it. Do you want to talk about what changed?" She shook her head. "I've been thinking about this for a while. I need space to figure out who I am without us." I nodded. "When do you want to move your things?" "This weekend," she said, surprised again by how practical I was being. "I can stay with my friend Kayla until I find a place." "Okay," I said. "I'll help you pack." The rest of the night was quiet. She slept in the guest room. I lay in our bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every late night, every canceled plan, every time she said, "I'm fine," when she clearly wasn't. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I just made a mental list of what needed to happen. Thursday after work, I met my buddy Ryan at a bar in the Mission. He's been my friend since college. I told him the news. He offered to come over Saturday with his truck. My younger brother, Chris, who teaches middle school in Oakland, said he'd drive over too. I didn't tell Lauren they were coming. I just showed up Friday night with boxes from U-Haul and started sorting her stuff while she was still at the office. Saturday morning, she walked in at 9 and stopped short. The living room was full of neatly labeled boxes. Her clothes were already folded in suitcases. Ryan and Chris were in the kitchen drinking coffee. "What is all this?" she asked. "You said this weekend," I answered. "We're ready when you are." She looked at the guys, then back at me. "You didn't have to do all this." "I know," I said, "but it's easier this way. Clean break." She didn't argue. For the next 4 hours, we loaded boxes and bags into Ryan's truck and my car. She kept glancing at me like she was waiting for me to break. I stayed calm. I even helped carry her favorite reading chair down the stairs. When the last box was in, she stood on the sidewalk with her arms crossed. I guess that's it, she said. I guess so, I replied. Take care, Lauren. She got in her car and drove off. I shook hands with Ryan and Chris, thanked them, and went back upstairs alone. The loft felt bigger, quieter. I opened all the windows, put on some music, and started cleaning. By Sunday night, the place looked like she had never lived there. I even moved the couch to a different wall and ordered a new rug online. The first week after she left, I threw myself into work. I volunteered for a high-visibility project that meant late nights, but I didn't mind. My boss noticed. You seem focused, Mike, he said in our one-on-one. Keep this up, and we're talking promotion at the end of the quarter. I went to the gym every morning at 6. I ate better. I called my mom more. I didn't check Lauren's social media once. 2.5 weeks after the breakup, I ran into Emily at a coffee shop on Valencia Street. Emily Carter was 28, worked as an account executive at Brightwave, the same place as Lauren. I had met her a few times at company happy hours and the annual summer picnic Lauren dragged me to. Emily was always the one who remembered my name and asked real questions about my job. She was funny, quick, and had this warm laugh that made the whole room lighter. Mike, she said when she spotted me in line. Oh my gosh, how are you? We ended up sharing a table outside. She already knew about the breakup. Lauren had told the whole team the Monday after she moved out. She said you took it really well. Emily told me, stirring her latte. Like, scarily well. I shrugged. What else was I supposed to do? Beg. Emily looked at me for a long second. A lot of guys would have. She made it sound like you were the one who checked out first. That was news to me. Really? Yeah. She's been saying for months that things felt stale, that you were married to your job, that she needed excitement. Emily paused. I always thought you two looked happy at the picnics. Guess I was wrong. We talked for almost an hour. She told me about a big client pitch she was leading. I told her about the new project at Apex. When we stood up to leave, she said, we should grab dinner sometime. As friends. No pressure. I smiled. I'd like that. We went out that Friday. Nothing fancy, just sushi in Hayes Valley. We laughed the whole night. She was easy to talk to, interested in my stories. And when she touched my arm, while making a point, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. We kissed goodnight outside her apartment in the Castro. It felt right. We saw each other 3 more times in the next 10 days. By the time the calendar hit exactly 1 month since Lauren's "I'm not in love" speech, Emily and I were officially dating. We kept it quiet at first, but San Francisco is a small city when you work in the same circles. Someone from Brightwave saw us holding hands at a Giants game, and the news spread like wildfire through their office Slack. Lauren found out on a Thursday afternoon. I was in my office on the 8th floor of the Apex building reviewing quarterly reports when my assistant buzzed me. There's a Lauren Bennett here to see you, she said. She's not on the calendar, and she's pretty upset. I took a deep breath. Send her to the small conference room. I'll be right there. When I walked in, Lauren was pacing in front of the window. She looked like she hadn't slept much. Her hair was in a messy bun, and she was wearing the hoodie I bought her last Christmas. How could you? She said the second the door closed. Emily? My Emily? 1 month, Mike. 1 month, and you're dating my coworker. I sat down at the table and stayed calm. Yes. She stopped pacing and stared at me. Do you have any idea how this makes me look at work? Everyone is whispering. They think I must have been horrible to you if you moved on that fast. And with someone on my team. I didn't do it to hurt you, I said. Emily and I ran into each other. We clicked. It just happened. Just happened, she repeated, her voice cracking. You said I understand, like it was a business meeting, and then you go date the one person who knows all our stuff. She knows how I felt. She knows the fights we had. How could you? I looked at her for a long moment. You told the entire office that I was the problem, that I was boring, that you needed excitement. You were already emotionally checking out long before you said the words to me. Emily told me some of the things you said about me at work. So yeah, when she and I started talking, I learned a lot. Lauren's face went pale. That's not fair. I was venting. I was confused. You were confused while living in my house, eating the food I bought, letting me pay for everything so you could chase your dreams. And the whole time you were telling your coworkers I wasn't enough. She sank into a chair. I thought if I said I wasn't in love, you'd fight for me. You'd realize what you were losing and try to fix it. I pictured you calling me every day, showing up at my new place with flowers, begging me to come back. Instead, you just let me go, like it was nothing. and now you're with her." Her voice broke. "In my version of love, you were supposed to stay single, pining, waiting for me to figure my shit out." There it was. The truth she had never said out loud. I leaned forward. "That's not love, Lauren. That's control. You wanted the safety of knowing I'd always be there while you went looking for something better. I'm not a backup plan. I'm a person." Tears ran down her face. "I made a mistake. I see that now. I still care about you. Can we at least talk? Maybe try again?" "No," I said quietly. "We can't." She sat there crying for a minute, then wiped her eyes and stood up. "You're cold, Mike. You always were." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I just finally learned my worth." She left without another word. That night, Emily came over to the loft. I told her everything. She hugged me tight. "I'm sorry she blindsided you like that," she said. "But I'm not sorry we found each other." We ordered pizza and watched a movie. For the first time in weeks, the loft felt like home again. Update 1. Lauren started texting the next day. "I'm so sorry for how I acted at your office." I was shocked. "Can we meet for coffee? Just to talk?" I didn't reply. 2 days later, another string came in. "Emily won't even look at me at work. Everyone is taking sides. This is humiliating." I still didn't answer. On Monday, she called from a different number. I picked up by accident. "Mike, please," she said, voice shaky. "I can't sleep. I keep replaying that night. I never meant to hurt you. I thought we had something real." "We did," I said. "Until you decided I wasn't enough. I was wrong. I see that. I miss you. I miss our life. Lauren, I'm with Emily now. We're happy. You need to let this go." She cried again. "You moved on so fast. It makes me feel like our 4 years meant nothing to you." "They meant a lot," I told her. "That's why it hurt when you threw them away with one sentence. But I'm not going to stay stuck in that hurt forever. You shouldn't either." She hung up. At work that week, my boss pulled me into his office. "Great job on the Q3 deliverables. We're promoting you to director of product. Starting salary bump to 160 base plus bonus." I called Emily right after. She screamed with joy. Update 2. 3 weeks after the office confrontation, Lauren quit Brightwave. Emily told me the gossip. Lauren had been distracted, missing deadlines, snapping at the team. The final straw was when she tried to badmouth Emily to their boss, and HR got involved. Lauren left with 2 weeks severance and a reputation that would follow her in the small San Francisco marketing scene. She moved back to Portland to live with her parents. I know because she sent one last long message. "I'm leaving the city. I can't stay here with everyone knowing. I hope one day you can forgive me. I really did love you, even if I messed it up." I read it once, then deleted the thread. I didn't reply. Emily and I took our first weekend trip together to Big Sur. We hiked the trails, sat on the cliffs watching the ocean, and talked about everything. She told me how Lauren had complained about me for months, how I worked too much, how I was predictable, how she felt trapped. Hearing it hurt, but it also made everything clearer. Lauren hadn't fallen out of love suddenly. She had been checking out for a long time, and I had been too busy trying to be the perfect boyfriend to notice. Final update. It's been 4 months since that Tuesday night on the couch. It's February now. The city is cold and rainy, but my loft feels warm. I repainted the bedroom a soft gray, bought new bedding, and put up shelves for the books Emily and I both love. She basically lives here on weekends. We're talking about her moving in officially this summer. I ran into one of Lauren's old coworkers at a networking event last week. He bought me a drink and said, "Man, after you and Emily got together, the whole office felt bad for Lauren. But then we remembered how she talked about you behind your back. You dodged a bullet." I just smiled. "Yeah, I did. Chris still comes over every other Sunday for football. My mom visited last month and met Emily. She pulled me aside in the kitchen and whispered, 'She's lovely, honey. I'm so glad you're happy.' I am happy. Not the desperate, clingy kind of happy I thought I needed with Lauren. This is calm, steady, real. I still think about that night sometimes. The way Lauren expected me to fall apart, to wait around like a loyal dog until she decided she wanted me again. In her version of love, I was supposed to stay single and pining, proving how much I cared by never moving on. Instead, I said, 'I understand,' packed her boxes, rebuilt my life, and found someone who looks at me like I'm enough exactly as I am. Some people might call it cold. I call it self-respect. And every time Emily laughs at one of my dumb jokes or reaches for my hand while we walk down the street, I remember that the best revenge isn't yelling or fighting or trying to hurt someone back. It's living well. It's saying, I understand, and meaning it. Then proving the world doesn't end when one person stops loving you. Because sometimes, that's exactly when your real life begins. A few friends asked if I ever got closure. I did. The day Lauren showed up at my office and admitted out loud that she expected me to pine. That was all the closure I needed. Yes, I kept the spare key Lauren never returned. I changed the locks the day after she moved out. Best $40 I ever spent. No, I don't hate Lauren. I hope she figures her life out in Portland. But that chapter is closed for good, and I'm okay with that. More than okay. I'm free.